My name's Jeff St. Laurent. This is the Tuesday live show, and today's topic is how to not use social media to market your business as I broadcast live from social media. And before we get into that topic, I do record all of these Tuesday live shows, and I put them on my website in my university at sellingcoaching.com as I help coaches transition to a full-time business. So right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com, where all my resources are in the university, but right on the homepage, it's where I want you to start off. And I want you to enter your name and email address, and you're going to have instant access to my great resource. And that's launching your full-time coaching business, the first 3 vital steps. So when you enter your name and email, not only are you going to get instant access to that audio training program, but also it's going to put you in my email community. You're going to get emails from me on a weekly basis. Why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you, right? No, but really, you want to be there because number one, you want to get the great information that I share on a weekly basis, sharing some great tips and strategies, helping you transition to full-time. And secondly, I want you to see how I use my email community to stay in touch and top of mind with my audience, because it's a vital element to what you do in your world. With that being said, let's talk social media, or let's talk not social media. Now, it's the day and age, right, where social media is like everything, right? People are just like, they're on their phones all the time. The younger generations are coming up. I have a 13-year-old boy, and it's just like, that's all it is. It's just their phone. It's just, it does not leave their face. Adults, same thing, right? So people, or coaches, should I say, often think that I've got to use social media, and they don't know anything else really. Like, well, how am I going to get my message out there? I'm going to use social media. And it's a misconception. I'll say this. It's a misconception to think that I have to use social media to market my business. And in fact, or when in fact, you don't have to use it at all. And that's how about this? If I'm going to end the show right now, I just want to give you permission to not use social media. That's it. Especially if you're like, oh my God, I don't like social media. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm not good with it. And what I want to say as an asterisk to that is, I don't want you to avoid it solely because it's not you, right? Because there are situations where I would want you to use social media to market your business. And I'm going to clarify that today. The short version of it, where you can leave right now, is don't feel like you have to, right? You can be very successful without it. I did my first 10 plus years of my business, didn't use social media at all. At all. None, not a zip. Now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, social media is what it is today. Or, I don't know how to say that, but the point is, it was around. I can't tell you, I don't remember what, because I didn't use it. But only in the last 4 years, I started using social media. And not because I wanted to use social media. It's because my niche, who I help with what specifically, helping coaches transition to a full-time business, I can find those people much easier online, social media-wise, than I can face-to-face. I can get in front of them easier, have better access to them. Therefore, why would I market face-to-face, right? And that's what I want to say to this for you, is to say simply that don't not do social media because you don't like it, blah, 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 any of those weird reasons. It's you want it to determine whether you use it or not based on who you're helping with what specifically. Now, let's just say it like this. If you've defined that well, and you can find those people easier, more readily, and on a more consistent basis online with social media, then I would urge you to use social media, right? So in other words, a great example, as I said, I help coaches transition to a full-time business. If I were to completely be off social media for whatever reason and do face-to-face, could I get in front of coaches? Absolutely, right? So there's coaching schools, there's ICF, International Coaching Federation. Those people have meetings. There are coaches that get together with masterminds. So I would have to find ways to get in front of those people. And even saying that, I'm thinking I probably have to use social media outlets to find that out, right? But there's ways of me doing that. However, it's a lot more challenging without using social media at all. Whereas versus if I use it, there are, as you probably know as a coach, because you're probably in a lot of those groups that have coaches in them. So by me being able to market more effectively and with much more ease, I would use social media. So same thing with you. Now, if you're a bit more broad and vague and general with your niche, said differently or said another way, or especially if you're broad, vague, and general with your niche, I would advise you more to do face-to-face networking type meetings and less social media. Whether that's because you're going that direction or let's say because you choose that direction, you're a people person, meaning you recharge and interact well with people face-to-face. Now, it doesn't mean that, let's say someone like myself is not. I can be a people person. Socially, I choose to be more reclusive and hibernate with just close friends and family, small or by myself. I like that better socially, but I can mix it up business-wise. I can interact. It just, that recharges you, you like that, you thrive in that environment. You get a lot more back from people when you interact with people. Those are some of the reasons to be doing face-to-face. If you're choosing that direction and you're using that as your primary source of marketing, that's where I would say you don't have to use social media. If you want to, and it can help you find some of those people easier and get in front of those people easier and quicker face-to-face, then use that. However, my point of this now to say is if my primary means of marketing is face-to-face and I can still readily find ways to get in front of those people without using social media at all, and I don't want to use it at all, you don't have to at all. There's zero reason to use it. And in fact, if you're going down that path, what I would urge you to do is not to use it. When I'm mentoring coaches, when people hire me and they're choosing that face-to-face path, and we're looking at, it's like, wow, your energy and efforts, you can use them and channel them and focus them and get a lot more traction and results from face-to-face. In that situation, I don't want them using social media unless they really want to. And even if they really want to, I might advise them not to. And just because, let's say they use it for, let's say they're doing a live broadcast like I'm doing right now, and they're using Facebook as a medium to do that live broadcast. They're using YouTube or Instagram as an example. Doesn't mean they're using social media to market. Yeah, sure. If they get any residual, exposure from doing a live broadcast using those platforms, fantastic, right? If I get some additional exposure by doing this live broadcast and then putting it on YouTube and then ultimately on my website, great. I'm not banking on it for my marketing. I'm not banking on it. I'm banking on this to nurture my existing audience, to provide value, to educate, to upscale, right? Ultimately, it helps build value for what I do and what I offer. So when you watch something like this and you get to the point like, oh my God, I need some help, and you've been watching this, you've been learning from me, you think, hopefully, wow, I trust Jeff, I like Jeff, you know what, Jeff can help me. Now you reach out to me, you go to the work with me page at sellingcoaching.com and you fill out the form at the bottom. I connect with you. Next thing you know, you hire me as your mentor coach, right? That's how that works there. But so same thing with you, just because you're using a social media platform as a vehicle to do a live broadcast doesn't mean you're using social media to market. Technically, maybe a little bit, but the point is I don't want that to be your main focus. I don't want you to, oh my God, I got to post on this platform and this platform, and I got to message people and blah, blah, blah. Just use the platform to do the live broadcast, get it over to YouTube so you can get it to your website, and that's it. So use that and then let people in your email community know that you did that and keep that in front of them to nurture that audience. But keep the main thing the main thing. Albert Einstein said that. The main thing is what? You marketing face-to-face. I want you out. I want you networking. I want you shaking hands. I want you meeting with people. I want you developing relationships to speak in front of people, doing events, connecting with those people there, following up with people there. Now your main source of marketing is what? Something called a telephone. Can I spell that for you? I'm joking, but the point, and I'm saying that sarcastically because people don't call and use the phone like they should or they need to. They rely on messaging and instant, email and text and, instant messaging via social media. And it's not a way of connecting with people at all. Well, okay, it's a way of connecting with people, but not like you need to be connecting with people. Is have an intelligent conversation face to face. Have an intelligent conversation over the phone. Have a back and forth. You've got to be able to think on the fly. You got to be able to adapt on the fly. You got to be able to answer and pivot and ask questions and spin things around when people say, how much does it cost? Or how much are you going to charge for this event? I'd love to tell you more about what I would charge for this event. I'm curious, why do you ask? Or before we get into that, why don't we figure out if we're actually going to do something or not? Or why don't we figure out the scope of work? And at that point, if we decide we want to move forward, let's work on the price. How does that sound? And then you move forward. But you don't get to do that in a virtual setting, right? So there are very applicable and necessary needed skill sets that you require if you're going to be successful in this business that only face-to-face and or phone can equip you with. So there's a lot of value for doing that method as well. So if you're doing face-to-face marketing and networking, you're using tools like email, all right, because your email list or your community, as I like to call it, remember I said earlier, go to sellingcoaching.com on the homepage, enter your name and email address, put you in my email community. You're building your email community when you get out into the community. You're shaking hands. Hey, listen, we had a great conversation. And you know what, they might not be able to help you at this time or whatever, or make referrals or whatever it is. So, you know, I love to put your information to my email community to stay top of mind. Not only can you get, my emails on a weekly basis, but I want to be top of mind. So if you should talk to somebody or have some ideas, this way I'm going to show up in your inbox every week. You can just hit reply and say, oh my God, Jeff, you know what? I talked to so-and-so. I think it'd be great connecting with them. How would that sound to you? Or some version of that. And they say, absolutely. And you add a name to your email list. And you do a handful of those every week. And that might feel painfully slow to you. But the reality is you do that over 10 years. I'm not going to do the math right now. But guess what? Between that, doing some events, getting some clients, things like that, your list is going to grow. And after 10 years, you're not going to have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. Well, maybe you could, depending on how many people you start to speak to. But the point is, you can get away with 2,000, 3,000 people of a good, close-knit community of people that you connected with. And that's all you need to create a multiple six-figure income. I know because I do it. So the point is that we start to use the phone. We start to connect. And you know what? Social media, boo social media. We don't need it. And we start to build that following. And ultimately, our business is our email list. So even if, and I teach this, even if you're building a following and an audience on social media, if you're not getting that social media network of people over to your email community, or at least trying to do so on a regular basis, when social media changes and platforms change or go away completely, and oh my God, Facebook will never go away, maybe you're right, and I would tend to agree with you. I've bought stock in Facebook, so I tend to agree with you. But the point is you've seen what's happened even over the past year and a half in terms of the volatility of it and the scandals. And something like a Facebook, as an example, is so woven into the community that, oh my God, how could it go away? But guess what? It's my generation that's on Facebook, not my parents. Well, they're there, but they just have an account, right? They don't use it. It's my generation that uses Facebook. And my son, guess what? He's 13. He's on Facebook, but does he use Facebook? No, he got an account, but he's on Snapchat a million times a day, and he's on Instagram and so forth and so on, and then whatever new platforms are going to come up. So in 20, 30 years from now, when my son's generation is the current generation, they're 40 years old, guess what? They're the primary income earners, and therefore they're the primary buyers in the marketplace, right? Hopefully I'll be retired by then, right? Well, I'm kind of retired now, right? No. But the point is they're going to be driving social media and whatever it's going to be called at that time. So it's going to change. So maybe it will never go away, but the dynamic of it's going to change. And you can't rely on that solely for the community of your business. So if you're going to use it, great. But if not, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you're missing out on anything, and stay laser focused. And like I said, keep the main thing. And that's the path I want you to go down. And so I want you to give you that permission to go away from there. But remember, only if you can find your audience easier face to face, especially if you're a broader, more general, vague message. That's how I want you to use not use social media and focus on your marketing. But either way, I need you to have a focus. What I noticed, especially when I started coming into the social media world, and trust me, I tried it when I was doing face-to-face marketing. I looked into it because, just like you probably feel, especially I felt back then, especially as it was a lot newer. And I feel like I'm like so old saying it was newer, but it's like in the last 10 years, right? But especially as it was really starting to grow, it was even more compelling and almost felt obligatory that, oh my God, I should be using this social media thing because everyone's doing it. And I looked into it, and I'll tell you what, I got overwhelmed. And for a little while, I lost my focus. I lost my focus on what I knew I was doing well with live events and face-to-face marketing. And then I said, what am I doing? And I refocused. Luckily, I had a mentor that showed me the way. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Why do you need that? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I should. He's like, slap me in the face, dude, literally, metaphorically. Keep your focus. Keep the main thing the main thing. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing with you, is find your groove, find your path. I love face-to-face marketing. Even though I don't do it now, I told you I have a reason why. There's always a reason why I do what I do in business. There's a reason why if you're mentoring me, I'll tell you to do something or not do something based on what I know, what my experience is, and where you are in your experiences and what you're looking for as well. So when I tell you those things, listen to those things. We just don't want to do things randomly like, oh, I'm just going to pick how much do I want to charge? Well, what I'm comfortable with. No, you got to understand what your financial responsibilities are, right? There's got to be a method to your decisions in your business. That's what I'm here for as your mentor coach. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. And moving forward with that, if you're challenged with your marketing plan and need a structure because you're all over the place, because you're on social media and you're getting all these emails and notifications from social media, and you're getting all these bombardment from all these gurus telling you to do this and do this and do this, and each one has 5 different ways, these shiny objects, and you need some focus, you need some structure, you need some assistance, and you require it and you want it, and the timing feels right for you, consider hiring me as your mentor coach. If that's a consideration of yours, go to sellingcoaching.com, the work with me page, then scroll to the bottom, fill that form out. I'm going to call you up because I use the phone. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the talk. And I'm going to call you up and we're going to create a relaxed conversation. We're going to learn a little bit more where you're at, and we can figure out the best path to go from there.